Click the links for Odysee, BitChute, Coffee, and the rest. Hashtag Stop Asian Hate. You're free to hate whoever you want. That's fine. That's part of your rights. But they want to conflate and confuse hate with battery and deletions from this mortal coil, i.e. violent attacks against the person. The reason it's Stop Asian Hate and not the more specific Stop Actually Robbing and Deleting Asian Victims is that they don't care about Asian victims. I got a lot of these to go through. Not at all. The goal is to censor free speech. That's why it's Stop Asian Hate and not Stop Inner City Ghost Men, who I call them that because the media treats them as invisible. Stop those people from beating Asians to excision. Stop hatred. How? It's a feeling. It's a thought. There are no actual thought crimes. This isn't 1984, not yet. We punish the action, not the thought. Well, the next best thing to punishing the thought is to stop the words. If we censor speech, we can censor thoughts, bad acts. Do you want to censor rap music that writes about planning crimes? How dare you? That is the music of the blah blah insert Bolshevik propaganda here. Hashtag Stop Hate. No. You don't stop hate. You stop the acts of violence. Stopping violence was never the goal. How do you stop violent crime? Well, if I was God King Emperor, if you commit a robbery, i.e. a theft crime against the victim, you get 20 years in the pen. If you George Floyd a woman, 40, 50 years, no parole. If you delete somebody, you get either life or the permanent penalty. Oh, this comic was started, it's a 100-page DC thing where a bunch of Asianish writers and artists were aware of the recent events in San Francisco, Oakland, LA, and the East Coast of Asian people being victims of bad acts. So they said, we're going to do something about it. We're going to speak truth to power. We're finally going to say something. We're going to put our foot down. We're going to talk about this. We're going to stop this. Bring awareness. This guy's blonde in case the color rendition's not showing up. So this whole comic, as you see, I got to be so careful on YouTube, or it's just like, it's not even a strike, it's just they yeet the channel, but, you know what's up, right? You know what's up with the attacks on the Asian people? It's not guys like this. If you walk around, you're late at night, and you're somewhere, you don't know what's going on, and you see a bunch of blonde people out of, Aryan Central Casting, you're, oh, thank God I'm in a safe neighborhood. You know, it doesn't matter what color you are, where you're from in the world. If you're in a neighborhood and you see a bunch of people who look like this, oh my God, they've got short hairs. Yeah, they're blonde, dude. You're going to be fine. It's a safe neighborhood. You know it. I know it. They know it. These comic book writers know it. DC knows it. Everyone knows it. So they're speaking truth to power by fighting blonde gang members. Are you out of your effing mind? You stop crime by hurting criminals so much that they know that robbing a liquor store with a weapon gets them, if they're 20 years old when they commit it, they'll be released at 60. So they're no longer a threat to peaceful people. That seems awfully harsh. Take their whole life away. Just don't commit the violent crime. If you have to punish a few people like this, everyone else will learn not to rob liquor stores anymore. Suddenly, violent crimes like that will be like, is it worth 40 years behind bars? Probably not. If George Floyd went to prison for 40 years for his home invasion of a woman, America wouldn't be in this mess. He invaded a woman's home and was given a slap on the wrist. He was back on the streets in a few years. That should have been a life sentence. They don't want to stop crime. They want to stop speech so they can commit atrocities. That's why it's Stop Asian. Oh yeah, and everyone, all the bad guys in this comic book that was inspired by the bad acts in San Francisco and LA. All the bad guys look like this. Why even bother? Oh, because we sold a 100-page comic book for I don't know what they sold it for, and we all made $4,000. Yeah, but you're not actually, you were inspired by events in San Francisco and LA, right? It's not red-haired or blonde-haired dudes. How dare you say the truth? One of these days, the truth is going to be illegal, and it's coming pretty soon. Anyway, so Stop Asian Hate. Would you like to get more specific than that? No, I didn't think so. Asians and European victims are invisible ghosts where the attacker isn't blonde. It's in and out of the media in a day if it's somebody who doesn't fit the narrative. If the goal was to stop violent crime, the media, Congress, local and federal, would be covering who was behind it. They would cover it nonstop until they brought so much awareness to it that you finally turn the light on. The emperor doesn't have any clothes, the elephant's in the room. They don't. They ignore ghost crimes. Instead, they focus on Scottish guys who teach their dog to salute, at least in Europe. Our local FBI ignores inner city bad acts, which account for, 95% of violent crime. Why don't you focus on Chicago or St. Louis for a little while? They focus on people who don't commit violence, but they build N-word towers on the tweeters because hurt feelings literally are worse than the 115 grain ibuprofen. Oh, except they're not. They're not actually. Literally, bullets are worse than N-word towers, but our FBI doesn't believe so. Gosh, who's in charge of our FBI? Maybe we should look into that. Yeah, look into the Federal Reserve while you're at it. The Joker tablet is finding out that F me. Do I even? It's finding out that when somebody spray paints a building that belongs to an ideology of a belief system, of a symbol that reminds them of a period in time 80 years ago, to defame, to cast aspersions, to make you think, oh, it must be those blonde people doing this again. That symbols, the person who's actually caught on high-definition video camera doing that graffiti is actually the leader of that ideology that practices in that building, or a member of that belief system. Almost every single time. And how does the FBI record hate crimes and who commits them? That's a good question. So it's a hoax, right? If the guy who has access to that building's belief system paints that symbol, it's a hoax. So does the FBI wash it off its records, or does it still go down as a hate crime against a religion that's not Christianity? It still goes down as a hate crime, even if it's a hoax. Gosh, who's in charge of our FBI? When a darker countenanced guy's truck gets that symbol painted on it, the neighbor's cameras show that the owner himself did it because he got behind on his payments because he bought a new truck instead of just buying a cheaper used car or something. George Orwell says something about the boot stepping on your face for eternity. It's eternity for the next 50 years in America is just going to be Jussie Smollett every day, an endless cycle of Jussie Smollett hitting the news, or Nick Sandman, the Covington Catholic kids, hitting the news, having the media straight-faced take it absolutely seriously, and everyone watching it goes, yeah, this is bullshit. We know it's a hoax. We know it's fake, because so far in the past 40 years, 99% of these have been fake. No part of us, the media doesn't believe it, we don't believe it. The media taking it seriously is just flat out telling the viewer, this is fake news. We're the enemy of the people. Yeah, plot twist is the enemy of the people. Oh, hey, they're fighting the white people. Thank God the POCs are teaming up to fight the people of the light. Because, in America, the people of the light are the ones who are really doing all these bad acts. Are they really? So, Detective Comics says, stop Asian hate. Without ever actually going into details, then what's the point of this performative circle masturbatory virtue signaling? Some Asian guy gets deleted in Oakland. His buddy filmed the attack, which shows that they were planning it ahead of time to show intent. And they delete an 80-year-old Asian man who's just being an old fart waiting for the bus or something. Mind his own business. Oh, maybe he said the N-word. Doesn't give you the right to... Well, I'm guessing he probably didn't because you were filming it set up beforehand. So, and again, it doesn't give you the right to delete somebody for words. So Oakland has a march against European people who love themselves, except that the deleters weren't European. You know that. I know that. Everyone knows that. The march didn't make any sense. It doesn't have to make sense. The Pox on Pox Commission of Bad Acts is the elephant in the room. They just won't admit it because it destroys the narrative. the narrative of blonde man bad. Blonde man is actually awesome. Blonde men don't account for 99% of the attacks on Asians. We all know this, but it's the wrong thing to say it. So Amy Chu and Marika Tomake do a comic where a bunch of fully covered men, not an inch of skin showing, walk around bullying Asians in Oakland or San Francisco or LA. Except their vernacular is European American, not European American vernacular. This is peak absurdity. We all know this. Even if you're Asian, you're writing this comic, you should be embarrassed for yourself. Shame on you. Asians know it's not the blonde kids who are robbing and deleting them in Oakland and San Francisco. So much that can't be said on YouTube. YouTube is it's not cool anymore. There's no shortage of pox on Asian batteries and robberies caught on camera. It's not super villains or blonde skaters. It's super, well, Hillary Clinton said in 93, I'll call them super bad people because the algorithm will probably pick up the rest. But the SJWs in comics just can't bring themselves to admit it. Fine, you deserve what you get. There are 11 stories in here. Guess who the bad guys are? In one story, a lesbian African-Asian couple are dating. But of course, the two red-haired Scottish people have to attack and terrify the Asian restaurant goers. Because in the midst of all this real-life Asian suffering from bad acts, you make a comic about two Europeans terrifying Asians. Thank God the Africans and Asians teamed up to beat the two Europeans unconscious. Oh, they attack for no reason. Probably they just don't like Asian people. So this group of Asian writers saw the Asian attacks in Oakland, San Francisco, and LA, and they decided to write this comic. I don't know if you're looking at the screen, but look at the screen for this next little bit. Read this, guys. They don't show an inch of skin because to do so would be to just tumble the house of cards all the way down. So, okay, watch this. I don't know if you're tuned into the rest of this. It's fucking hysterical. It's actually funny, but if I laugh about it on YouTube, I'll just get immediately deleted. In fact, if I comment on this in any way, I'll probably get immediately deleted. It's freaking hysterical. Except the comic shows Europeans hurting Asians. However, in the real world, it shows something else because we live in the real world. No, you're not taking crazy pills. It's just that political correctness has gone on. Oh my gosh. Has gone on so far where they can't even write a comic that shows you the actual bad guys are. So what's the point of the comic? There is none. Well, the point is to say European Americans are attacking Asians, and that won't be tolerated. What a brave and stunning stance that is. We won't tolerate Euro on Asian crime. Oh, well, it's good. You don't have to tolerate it because it doesn't happen anywhere except in comics. I got to do live streams so I can finally get this out and then just immediately delete them. I think that's the only way to do it. So Asian kids are reading this and wondering what the hell is going on. Why not just find your lady balls and show what is really happening in San Francisco and Oakland? Just tell the truth. Maybe then people can start talking about it and you can do something about it. These bad acts that are being committed, you know who's not committing them. Let's blame the blonde people who weren't involved. That's insanely racist. That's anti-white. Yeah, it is. So why are you doing it? Because they don't want to stop the attacks on Asians or Europeans. They don't care. As long as the media continues to ignore Asian and European victims, they can work on the real issue, which is taking away free speech. The media and Congress don't care about Asians or European Americans. Not at all. Or, to be fair, African Americans either. If you're African American, you're just a blue voter to them. That's it. There's nothing beyond that. You're tax cattle and votes. In blue cities, they're wasting time talking about pronouns, or in San Francisco, Scott Wiener is making it easier to bang children. America isn't a country anymore, and I don't mean that hyperbolically. For 40, 50 years, America has slowly been turned into a commercial zone. It's a commercial zone that's controlled by billionaire bankers, tech companies, and the media. If you say wrong thing and you have a following, the banks will cancel your accounts. No warning. You can be out requiring Uber and your debit cards, a single woman running around, and all of a sudden find out that you can't call an Uber to get home, or you can't buy your groceries because the banks cancel your account. And you go, oh wow, oh, because she's a British girl who likes her country. Oh, So wait, should the banks have the power to do that? Like, shouldn't they be? They have so many government contacts. Shouldn't you have government protections? You would think so. You would think so. That's how they determine constitutional issues: is how intertwined it is with federal contacts and things like that. It's like you would think at this point, banking would be a right because it's so tied in to the Federal Reserve, which admittedly isn't a federal. It's private, but it's tied in. You get the idea. You would think our executive, our Congress, would be working on that, but they're not. They have better things to do. They're focusing on microaggressions. Microaggressions is somebody hurting your feelings. It's some woman rolling her eyes at the wrong time. Why don't you focus on actual batteries, actual deletions from this mortal coil? You're not living in clown. I mean, you're living on Joker Planet, but you're not taking crazy pills. Anyway, go to Odysee, BitChute. Support my work on coffee so I can buy more pens and notebooks. And I will see you guys all next episode.